Welcome back. We're continuing our exploration of attacks and interceptions. In this case, we're using them for entries, and they come from the Naihanchi Shodan. So remember that entry is the beginning of our 3 goals, getting into pressure and then into the finish. In terms of entries, if we look at interceptions, we're looking for that before timing. You've heard me mention before, during, and after. Mainly we're talking about before timing. We're looking to catch the attack at its inception. If you could read their mind at the moment that they were deciding to attack, that's when you want to get them with an interception. How are we going to do that? Well, we're going to read body language, and we're also going to pay attention to the situation that we're in. Through both of those things, we can anticipate an attack and work there with it. Also, some people would make the argument, including myself, that during timing is also an interception. The problem is you exposes yourself to a little more danger if you're going that far into his attack. You want to try and get it right at the beginning of the attack. That's the safest. But if you're getting it once the attack is on the way, that's still an interception in my book, and we call it during timing. Now, we've introduced you before to the inverted punch, and we've shown that with during timing. So that could be, we called it an A and D, but you could also look at it as an interception. Naihanchi Shodan comes in a basic kata and an advanced kata in the forms that I do. The advanced version of the kata doesn't do an inverted punch anymore. It actually changes it to a 3/4 twist punch. Okay? With that 3/4 twist punch, we're getting more extension and we're getting a little more snap out of the punch. So that would allow us to use it like we could use it as a lead. So anytime we're moving around, we see that opportunity, we can use that lead punch, just like a good boxer uses a jab, to catch them at the beginning of their attack and totally mess up their plans. The inverted punch works great if you're in a face-to-face situation within touching range and you realize this is becoming something that's dangerous. All right? So you might be able to use it at that point as well. So the first kick that we're going to look at as an interception is the inner leg kick. So in the kata, it's this motion. Okay? So for my interpretation of it, my heel, I have it touched right here as a possible target, one of the possible targets for this kick. The kick itself is an inverted kick, okay, or an oblique kick. So I'm not avoiding a sweep or any of the other explanations I've thought of. Is this is a kick, that's the target, and it's going to be an oblique kick that we do it with. Glenn, can I steal you? So I'm going to show it right now as an interception. In a minute, I'll show how to use it in an attack. Okay? So it could be a squared off sparring situation. It could be hands are down and 2 guys are talking and he starts to invade my space. So I'm there. And I can come in like that and go right into a clinch. Okay? So I'm catching as an interception. I'm catching him on the step. So scoot this way a little bit so you're a little more centered up. So what I'm trying to do is I'm reading his motion. He's coming into me. Boom. I'm catching it there and away I go. His step could be because he's going to grab. Could be because he's going to push and punch. Could be any of those things. But let's say he's going to work off a punch there. He's stepping into punch. Boom. Boom. And we're in. Okay? If you catch it as an interception, it'll totally break his posture and throw that other punch off. The next technique is actually a hidden technique. The actual kicking motion is not in the kata. Only the setup for the kick. So when we are looking at the cross step, then it is the back leg coming around that actually is a kick, but it's not shown. Okay. And what's funny is just yesterday I had a student that I was teaching Naihanchi to. And after we had gotten the footwork down and we'd done a little bit, got them halfway through the kata, I said, find the hidden kick. And amazingly, and this happens quite often, they find that spot. If they've been taught a crossover kick, they'll find it, okay? So it's in there. So in terms of to the camera, in the kata, I'm stepping here like this. So I'm coming across here. So I'm not crossed in relationship to my opponent. So I'm not fighting somebody that's here. Remember, I'm fighting somebody that's there. Okay? So I'm stepping across. This could be a round kick. Okay? Could be a side kick. As I come in, boom, Any of those will work just fine. Could be a leg obstruction. So we'll demonstrate a couple of those. All right. So I said in the last section I would show a little bit of how to use an oblique kick as an attack. So that cross step, okay, we could replace the crossing step with an oblique kick. Okay. So I could be going for a leg here, and then I come up for the round kick there. Scoot this way just a little bit. So we're in frame. So again, I could be coming with the oblique kick right here. And then maybe I'm coming into the ribs with the other kick on the other side, or to the head, whatever is more appropriate. I could also use that that oblique kick as a defensive kick, and then use the hidden kick to follow up. Here's what I mean. He goes to throw a round kick, let's say. So I block his kick, and now I'm in with my kick. All right. So another way that we could do that. A leg obstruction could be an attacking leg obstruction. All right. Where does this come in? When my teacher Samuel Yada, when I look back at videos that were done of him in the 60s, when he did Naihanchi Shodan, just looking at footwork, foot turned out, foot came across, and then this one stepped directly out into the Kibadachi. Okay? Then sometime, as best as I can figure it out, in the early 80s, maybe late 70s, he put this motion in. So he turned the foot out, he stepped across, then he brought this foot around. He doesn't stand on it, he just brings it to that center line, then steps out. Okay? So I've asked many times, no one's given me the best answer as to why that was. My own research, I feel that one, when you bring the foot around and then step out like that, it allows you to go into a stronger Kibadachi because you're only moving in one direction as opposed to when you step around, now you have two dimensions. The other aspect is I feel like it's hiding a pendulum step. Okay? So what I mean by that is if we freeze frame this position right here, that looks like this part of a pendulum step. All right? So right here, when this foot comes in to replace and I'm shifting my weight, there's that pendulum step. Okay? So I might use the pendulum like this. Let's say I was using it as a leg obstruction. All right? So, and I'm using it as a way to come into my attack. I might lead off in here. Boom, I'm there. And then I'm coming into my clinch. Okay? I'm throwing some ideas out here. You'll see really good technique sequences in the future. I'm just trying to give you some ideas of why we might use that. One of the hints that I gave you in looking at kata is once you have an arm drag, it's teaching you not only the arm drag from the Naihanchi Shodan off the double position, it's teaching you the concept of the arm drag. So that means you can use any arm drag. Well, if I already know how to use a leg obstruction on the attack, there's certainly no reason why now I can't use a leg obstruction as an interception, even though it's not directly taught in the kata. Okay? But I now have the concept of a leg obstruction because I'm using this cross step here and in, which is my pendulum. Okay? I can throw whatever kick I want from there. So leg obstruction it is. So in this case, maybe he's coming in with a jab. Boom, I'm going to catch him there. And then we go again. Okay? So using that leg obstruction breaks his posture on that entry. So I'm getting, not only getting entry, getting him reacting to me, but I'm also starting to break his posture. Please help us continue to bring you some great videos by subscribing to our channel and sharing our videos.